Hey everyone, happy Monday. It's Psychic Medium Josh Simons coming to you and everyone else out there who's happening to watch this with a Monday message. I do this every week to provide a little clarity for folks, to share my experiences and the wisdom that comes through from Spirit when I do what I do here. So, a couple of things that I want to talk about this week, I think everybody can relate to. The first one is a question that I recently received from a client. From time to time, I will sit with somebody, and it's very clear that they have something similar to what I do in the way that I can hear spirit, communicate with spirit, what have you. I use the term psychic medium when I probably should use the term just medium, because all mediums are psychic. Not all psychics are mediums. There are people out there that can be very intuitive, can pick on people's bodily stuff, perhaps things going on in their life, right? Reading the energy around them. But they're not necessarily communicating with the spirits of the dead, right? People who can communicate with the spirits of the dead can also read those types of energies that are around them and inside of a person. People that are intuitive, people that can hear spirit. I had, a recent client sit with me, and I'm like, wow, you really have something going on, and you should cultivate it as best you can. And she asked me how to cultivate it, and I said, well, a daily divination practice where you are digging into runes or tarot cards or oracle cards or anything like that, so you can hone those abilities and those skills, which makes you more intuitive, which makes you more apt to hear the messages your spirits are sending you. And she asked me, she goes, okay, so you say this, how can I use it? How do I know it's actually there? How does somebody hear from spirit, right? If you're not a full-blown medium, how does somebody hear from their own spirits? I think oftentimes those intuitions, those gut instincts that we have are our spirits saying, get out, right? Or move away, or do this thing, or don't do that thing. From what I can tell, we have two parts of our brain, the intuitive, the analytical. And when spirit sends us something, it will go through the intuitive part of our brain. After 2 or 3 seconds, though, it doesn't take very long, the analytical part of our brain kicks in and starts to process it, rationalize it, make it logical, right? Put it in our voice. Oftentimes, when people are thinking or feeling something, they're not. They're hearing something. But the way that that information comes through to us comes through in a way that we are hearing it in our own voice. People who are interested in hearing from spirit or communicating or better connecting with their own spirits, I would ask you to pay attention to the feelings, the impressions, the sensations that you get out of nowhere for no reason. I have been, I don't want to say victim to, but I have suffered from my loving spirits, my helpful, loving, wonderful, beloved dead, helping spirits, all of them, putting me through the ringer because I wasn't paying attention and I wasn't doing what I should have been doing in that moment. They'll send you feelings, they'll send you impressions, they'll send you sensations, and you'll be like, okay, well, I should probably not be doing this thing, or I should probably be doing this thing, and you don't do it, or perhaps you keep doing the thing you're not supposed to be doing. And then things will get awful for whatever reason. There's a lot of validity in the fact that our helping spirits put us through the ringer to move us to where we should be, right? If you're not listening, if you're not doing what they think you should be doing, they're going to put the squeeze on you. Even if you are where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to be doing, your spirits are going to communicate with you on everyday matters, because they want nothing more than our balance. They want nothing more than our peace and our happiness, right? Our health. I often talk about the 4 pillars of love, joy, peace, togetherness. And those 4 pillars are what our spirits want for us. They're going to make it known. They're going to make sure that they're doing things, making us feel things. Hearing from spirit is just going about your day. Feeling, paying attention, looking, listening, hearing, making that time. for this woman's example, she deals with a lot of the public, a lot of the people coming in front of her, right? And I told her, and her spirits told her through me, that she's very good when it comes with people, to people. Like, she's a very good judge of character. And even if the person on the outside looks like they're very well put together or highly educated or would never shoplift or never do anything bad, right? And yet her feelings say, watch that one, look out for that one. If her instinct is shouting, this person means trouble, but everything in the logical part of our brain is saying, I don't know why this person would mean trouble. You have to listen to that gut instinct, because that, again, that's your spirits communicating to you, and that gut brain that you have down there, right? That feeling like, okay, I should go in this direction, I should go in that direction. This is like when, you're headed to work one morning and you decide to take a left instead of a right. It happened to me the other day. I should have taken a left instead of a right. It would have been faster for me to take a left. And these are roads that I go on all the time, right? So this is not me like, oh, I'm gonna go sightsee, I'm gonna go pay attention to something that I don't see often. This is like my everyday route home. Something said, go this way, don't go that way. And I would have gone that way. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go that way. And I went that way, got home fine, not a problem. If I'd have taken the other way, who knows what would have happened? And again, this is hard because you don't know what would have happened. Those sensations, those impressions, those instincts, those things that come into your mind out of nowhere for no reason. You're not thinking about a person, you're not thinking about anything, and then boom. This happens to me when I am called to reach out to certain people in my life. I'll just be thinking of them for a certain reason, and then I'll just send them a message. And weirdly enough, that's when they needed a little, pep talk, little friend support. So my spirits know who I care for. They apparently know the conditions of the people that I care for, and they'll make me reach out, right? And it's not that I wouldn't normally reach out, but I'm getting that push. So I listen to that. If I have a certain person come into my mind, I'm like, oh, I should say hello to them, I'm gonna do that. And that's because that's how my spirits communicate. Now, when I sit in a session, and I say this very blatantly to people, when I sit in a session with spirit, I will taste something, I'll hear something, I'll feel something, I'll see something, all of these things come, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what this means. What does this mean? They're showing me this. And that one shows that person that I'm sitting with that their spirits still continue on, yet those symbols, those smells, tastes, the visuals, the audios, all of those things, they mean something specific to that person, right? This is why one of the things that often happens to me is I will receive the taste of oranges, and almost every time, if not every time, the person that I'm sitting with and I receive the taste of oranges, that person needs vitamin C. They're not having citrus, they're not eating a lot of greens or a lot of green vegetables, they're not taking a supplement or a vitamin. Vitamin C is one of those vitamins that our body won't hold on to. So I get that orange taste a lot. I'll get carrots for beta carotene. I'll get bananas for potassium. And when I taste bananas with somebody, you can almost guarantee that their calves cramp up because they need that potassium. And that's how spirits are communicating, right? For me, anyways, I don't hear clear sentences. I will sometimes hear sentences and words, right? If the spirit has that strength to do that. Oftentimes it's the feelings. I will say over and over again, spirit communicates by painting the picture in emotions, right? If a person is eating something that they shouldn't, and this happened to me with eggs the other day. I was sitting with somebody and I was like, I was seeing scrambled eggs, the most perfect scrambled eggs with like peppers, onions, cheese, all like the most gooey, wonderful, perfect scrambled eggs. And then I get the big thumbs down feeling, like, boy, you cannot be having eggs. And that person was, of course, eating eggs every morning for breakfast. That's how it works for me, and I believe to some extent that's how it should work for everybody. The sensations, the feelings, the impressions, the gut instincts, the things that come out of nowhere. That is how spirits will communicate. The other piece of this is another question that I got from somebody else. Somebody else asked me about signs from the universe, right? What do you do for signs for the universe? How do you ask for a sign from the universe? Oftentimes people will go, all right, I need need a sign that this is the right thing to do? Well, first and foremost, if you're wondering if that's the right thing to do and you're looking for a sign, that impression, that intuition, that feeling, that's the sign, right? That's your spirits going, go back to school, right? Go back to school. Clean out your basement. Look for the water damage in your basement, right? So when you when you are receiving those messages, right? When you're receiving, you think of things, honor that first and foremost, but then don't ask for a sign, because that feeling and impression in and of itself is the sign. Okay? The other thing is, if you really have a question and you want to talk to your spirits and you want their insight, this is where divination comes into. This is where the tarot cards, runes, they come into, because those systems act as phone lines to our spirits. So if I wanted to ask my grandmother something, if I wanted to ask my helping spirits or ancestors something, I'm going to go to a tool of divination, pendulums, anything like that, and I'm going to ask them for that sign there. And then I respect that. Even if it's not the answer I wanted to hear or was expecting to hear, I'm going to respect and honor that. Asking for signs is a tricky business, because if you're always looking for signs, then everything becomes a sign, right? If you're going to ask universe or spirit or ancestors for something, a sign, make it specific at least, right? But make sure that you don't already have those other avenues covered. The intuition or the divination, those types of things, right? Go to those avenues before you get all mad that you didn't find a white feather outside when you went for a walk. Because sometimes you won't find a white feather, because for whatever reason, spirit doesn't have that ability, strength, wherewithal, technique to put a feather in your path at the right time. I mean, if that happened for everybody, we wouldn't have to struggle, we wouldn't have to grow, because life would be spoon-fed to us. And life's not about being spoon-fed. I know that everybody watching this has struggled in their life. They've overcome a challenge. And while those challenges and struggles were awful, you're a better, stronger person on the other side of it. And that's what I meant at the very beginning of this when I said, your spirits will put you through things so you come out on the other side stronger. That has happened to me several times. Am I upset about it? Maybe at the very onset, maybe when I was on the other side of that circumstance, I was upset. But I will tell you, ultimately, I was very grateful, right? Because that growth, that change, that transformation wouldn't have happened if I didn't go through the ringer, if I didn't go through that fire, right? This is not me excusing the actions of spirit or karma or God or universe or what have you. This is more me just explaining it, that sometimes really tough things happen to us because that's how we grow. That's how we grow. Asking for signs, though, is a tricky business. Like I said, when you ask for signs and you're looking for signs, everything becomes a sign. That's tough, right? It's the really strange things that happen out of nowhere when you weren't asking for a sign, when you weren't looking for a sign, nothing like that was happening, and a hawk or an eagle swoops in front of your car for no reason. A lot of times it's owls. Birds seem to be a really, really potent way for spirits to communicate, or actually creatures of wing, the dragonflies, the butterflies, those types of things. When you see creatures of the air doing strange things, that's a sign, right? Oftentimes it's to get your attention. Now, what do you do with that? If you see a sign, right? If you see a sign, if you think, okay, spirit's reaching out to me, maybe it's just them saying, hey, hello, don't forget you're alone, I'm here, we're here. Or they're trying to get your attention about something. So if you get a sign, go right to your tarot cards, your oracle cards, your runes, right? Go to your pendulum and go, okay, what are you trying to tell me here? What are you trying to tell me? Use those tools to dial into spirit faster and better, right? So that's it. The communicating with spirit. I know that spirit, all of the spirits, right, our beloved dead, the land spirits, the gods, the angels, all of them, they interact and overlap with our lives in ways that we're not fully aware of, and we may never be fully aware of them. So when you're thinking or feeling something, there's a good chance you're hearing something. If you keep hearing that you should go back to school, or you just keep like, I don't know why, I should quit smoking. I love smoking, but I'm just getting that impression. That's your spirit saying, God damn it, put down the cigarettes, right? Or go back to school, or start the business, or do the thing. That's generally speaking how they're going to communicate with us all the time. Now, what I want to do is I want to pick a rune, and this is just general wisdom. Again, I could do 3 tarot cards, 3 runes, what have you. Today, for whatever reason, I'm going to pull a rune, and this rune is a symbol, wisdom for all of us that we can all benefit from. So I shake the bag of runes with the intention of the best sort of wisdom that I can provide anybody that's watching this. This rune is Jera, Jera. This is where I believe we get the word year from, and this is what that speaks of: endings and beginnings, cycles. So this talks about the summer harvest, right? That you've grown, you've worked, you've done a lot, and now you're reaping what you've sown. That's what this rune means, reaping what you've sown. Or endings of cycles and beginnings, right? Something is ending, something is beginning. I remember one year on my birthday, I pulled this rune and I was like, oh, you're cheeky, right? An ending, beginning of cycles. Work. So this is work, especially work related to hands. One of the things that spirits, for all of their power and their strength and their wisdom and all of that, they don't have our hands. They don't have our hands. This goes back to a message from a week or two ago about us being doorways, right? that we're almost puppets, and it's a weird way to put it, right? But there is a part of us that still exists in the spirit world, but we also have this physical part. And I want to show you the rune that lends that wisdom there. Because it's a very powerful shape, and it's one that speaks to me about this doorway functionality. So this doorway functionality is represented to me, of course it's going to be the last one that I find, right? It's represented to me by this Dagos rune, or Dagos, right? You see it looks like an hourglass on its side. Well, on this side of us is, on this side is the spirit world, and this side is the physical world, and we're that point in between where we're bringing, whenever we create, whenever we speak, whenever we do anything, right? We're bringing and manifesting something from spirit, the invisible world, into the physical world. And that also includes work. That also includes, what you're doing to keep your lights on, keep food on the table, help your community, help the people that you're working with, right? All of that. Taking care of your family is a spiritual act. Work, hands, cycles, work. You reap what you sow. I work with folks that seek connection to spirit, right? And I had a conversation the other day with somebody who was like, I want to know what my gifts are. Now, this is somebody who's taken a class with me, right? And my first question is, because they were asking, like, how can I connect with the element of fire? I'm a fire sign. And I think if I connect with the element of fire, I will discover my gifts, right? Things will happen for me. This person might have had a little bit of magic wand syndrome. Like, I just need the thing that's going to make the thing happen, or the magic bullet, right? That sort of thing. You reap what you sow. You put the work in, you get the results, right? And if you want a stronger connection to spirit, you have to connect with them every day, right? If you want a healthy body, you have to work out or exercise regularly. If you want a deeper connection with spirit, pull a tarot card every day, pull a rune every day, right? Open that connection, train your mind, train your spirit to speak in those languages. Because you can't just expect, I'm going to do a tarot spread and then, I'm a medium, or I'm a Reiki healer, I'm anything like that. This is, a spiritual truth as well as it is a physical truth about our human existence. You get what you put in. You get what you put in. Sometimes that's not true. Sometimes things just happen for us uh, without us working, right? But you gotta work at the things that you want. You gotta work at the things that you want. It's like the grasshopper and the ant, right? Ant worked all the time, right? Grasshopper played all the time. I think that's the fable. Grasshopper played all the time, didn't have food for the winter, was now, hey, Mr. Ant, can I have some food, right? This is very much about working for what what you want in life. Hopefully what you want in life is something that makes the world a better place. If not, at least don't make the world a worse place, right? So that's it. Monday message. I want to hear from you guys. Talk to me about this. What works for you? What doesn't work for you? Are you actively listening? Are you actively trying to communicate? Or are you just going about your life day to day, not paying attention to those signals or those signs, right? So have a wonderful week. Remember the energy of Yara. Remember that we all reap what we sow, collectively and individually. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'm here. Take care of yourselves out there.